Hey everybody, it's Jasmine and today I'm bringing you guys a really fun review. Today I'm going to be testing out the brand new Fenty Beauty Matte Primer for you guys. Fenty Beauty sent me this lovely package. I've never gotten anything from them before, so it was kind of surreal for them to reach out to me and for them to just send me a little box of goodies. So they sent me their new primer, they sent me another foundation. I had the shade 290, and then they also sent me a concealer also in the shade 290. Now if you guys watched my last empties video, you guys know I ran out of both the Fenty Original Pro Filter Primer as well as their foundation. So I love their foundation and I'm so happy to get it back up and just try out this new primer for you guys. Now before I get started, I am a normal skin type, so my primer review and foundation wear test might be a little bit different from those of you who are dry or oily. Let's read a little bit more about the mattifying primer. So this card just says, stay shine free this summer with Fenty Beauty. Meet Pro Filter Mattifying Primer, a brand new primer that takes mattifying to the next level, diffuses pores, and smooths the way for better foundation application. Pair it with Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation and Instant Retouch Concealer for sweat resistant shine control and extended makeup wear all summer long. And I'm also debating if I want to go in with powder. Maybe I will on one side of my face just so you guys could see the wear test on the primer alone and then with the powder as well. So let's just take it out the packaging, and I'm actually really upset because I originally have a backdrop in the back, especially for my reviews, but when I was setting up this morning, my backdrop broke. And I spent like an hour trying to fix it, and it's actually to the point now where I've had it for so long that I need to get a new one, and I actually just ordered another one, so bear with me if the background isn't as crisp and clear. So this is what the packaging looks like, just your standard Fenty bottle. Instead of the light pink color of the original Pro Filter Primer, this one does look more white. So the only area on my face that I would claim to be oily is literally right in between my eyebrows, but other than that, I don't really get oily anywhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this like normal. I'm going to take 2 pumps of this and spread it around my face. So when you're applying it, if you've ever used the original primer, this one feels a lot more thin in texture. There's not a lot of grip and tackiness. So this one just feels a little bit more silky and lightweight than the original. Oh, and I also should note, since we're on the topic of Fenty, I have tried Fenty Sponge. It's not necessarily my favorite, so I will still be using a sponge to apply my foundation, just like I would normally. And again, I'm in the shade 290 for the foundation. Lately I've been actually pretty light, so I'm not sure if this is going to match me perfectly, but I mean, typically 290 is what I usually range around. I know a lot of people have had oxidation problems with this foundation. I mean, I went through a whole entire bottle and I personally don't see a problem with the oxidation, but it covers beautifully. I mean, it covered that acne spot pretty nice. I do love the fact that 290 is more of like an olive undertone, because I noticed that some of her warm shades are a little bit more orange, so on me it doesn't look that flattering, but because this has a little bit of olive in it, it kind of matches me a little bit better. I should note that the primer, the original primer, is $32, so I'm only guessing that the new primer is also going to be $32. The foundation, it's going to retail you for $35, so a little bit more, but I mean, honestly worth it. Now I also have the concealer. I've never tried the concealer, so this is also going to be kind of like my first impressions on the concealer as well. Now this one's going to retail you for $26. I have the shade 290, and I believe when they launched the concealers, they said it's going to be a little lighter than the foundation. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this under the eyes and anywhere else that I need to highlight. So the reason why I'm doing more of like a first impressions on the primer is because I already know how the foundation acts on my skin. So I can tell you like how mattifying it really is, if it is mattifying. I also did my normal skincare routine underneath in case that matters to anyone. You guys know I do my skincare anyway, but I just thought I'd mention it just in case you guys are new here. So far my skin's looking really nice, soft, smooth, and definitely like really, it's not necessarily like dewy, but it's like a satin, like soft matte finish, which is what the foundation actually claims to give you already. So I'm wondering if this is just going to dry down a little bit more. I will powder one side of my face as promised, just so we could see the difference between one side of the face being set and then one side not. I do have their powder. This is actually one of my more recent purchases. This is $32, actually not a bad price for a high-end powder. I'm going to go ahead and set this side of my face, and I'm going to do my under eye area, my smile line, and half of my chin. This is where I normally set the cheek area. I could care less. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just pat it in with my sponge. This is the Juno&Co Rose Sponge. Just switched it off. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of this powder and do half the forehead as well, and then just, I guess, around the eyebrow, because the only area, like I said, that I do get oily is like right in between the eyebrows. So we're just gonna do half of that. And I mean, this banana powder honestly sinks into my skin like translucent powder, so my face doesn't really look different in color. Alright, so this is the completed look. I am going to wear this out for as long as I can. Typically, I like to do my wear test for over 8 hours just so you guys can get a really good glimpse on what it looks like to complete an entire day. So I'm going to go out and about, and I will see you guys at the end of the night. Alright everyone, I am back. It is just a little under 8 hours, but I'm just gonna round it up and say it's been 8 hours. I have been out and about with my cousin, and we were eating, you know, just doing cousin festivities. It wasn't that hot today, so I wasn't like extremely sweaty. But if you guys see these side-by-side comparisons between the normal primer, foundation, concealer side compared with the powdered side, you can see that the powdered side obviously looks more matte. And honestly, what can you really expect? You know what I mean? Like, of course, when you powder your face, you're obviously gonna be a little bit more matte. That's just how it is. That's just how it goes. But I wanted to just see the comparison on how the primer side just wore on its own. And honestly, just on its own, I like the finish. I love how it just looks like skin, very healthy, very dewy, but not overly greasy, because I know some primers, kind of like the original Pro Filter primer, will actually break down throughout the day and you'll look a little bit more greasier than you actually get. As far as like the middle of my eyebrow is concerned, let me get a little closer. It's honestly like not that bad. It does look a little bit dewy. My highlight on my cheek looks a little bit dewy. Around the nose, it starts to get a little shiny, but honestly, I like the way that looks. But on the other hand, I love having a matte finish as well, especially with the powdered side, because I just feel like it just looks classic, it just looks smooth all around, and it photographs beautifully. Both sides photograph beautifully, in my opinion. So it's kind of like, if you're into powdering your face, then this is the finish that you'll get. If you're the type of person who just skips the powder and then just likes to leave the house, this is the finish that you'll get. Honestly, not a huge difference if I'm really pinpointing the differences. Once I get like super up close and personal here, right in the under eye area, that is where I see, I guess, the most difference. So here, I feel like when I powdered, the entire area is all smooth out and it just looks very slick, and I look more of my age. Like, I definitely look 21 on this side. And when you get over to this side, it starts to be like, okay, well, now it's a little bit in my fine line area, especially right here where your crow's feet will start to show. The nose area is fine, smile line's fine on both sides, which that's a great plus. But just in the under eye area, it just starts to sink into the fine line. So this is where I start to feel like, okay, well, maybe I'm reaching like 24 on this side. But nonetheless, like, I just feel like they both look good. It's just the smallest difference. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the difference between the original Pro Filter Primer and the Pro Filter Mattifying Primer. Now the texture on both is a little bit different. The original is more of a thicker, more tacky consistency, and then the mattifying one has more of a lightweight gel consistency. It doesn't feel like a typical mattifying primer. It doesn't feel anything like the Benefit Professional. It doesn't feel silicone-y. It honestly feels like a hydrating primer, but it claims to be mattifying, which is really good because I don't like the feeling or the look of just looking extremely dry. You know, I like to look matte like this, but I don't want anyone to know that I'm just dehydrated. So when I say that, I'm talking about when I started doing makeup, there was a primer that I used to use, and it was by Rimmel, and it was like their Stay Matte primer. It was like in a purple packaging, and that one, you felt on your skin that was super drying, and that's what I'm talking about, where you just don't feel like the hydration left your face. You still feel hydrated, but the appearance of the skin, you know, may not look as dewy as normal primers. Now, comparing the longevity, I know that the original Pro Filter Primer actually is not really my favorite. It actually breaks down on the face really fast. I used to actually wear it specifically for school because it wasn't my favorite, and I honestly just used it to use it up. It was one of those primers that just broke down so easy, and I noticed it especially in my smile line area, which is one of the reasons why I didn't like using it, was because it just made everything that I put on top crease a little bit more. So to know that this primer actually minimizes a little bit of the creasing that I have is a huge plus. So the longevity is definitely longer with this mattifying primer. So if you're into something a little bit more longer lasting, then definitely go for this. Is it the most mattifying primer on the market? No, it definitely does not claim that, but I do think it gives you a soft matte finish or like a satin finish if you're really into that. There are some primers on the market that really do dry out the face, like I said, but if you're looking for that type of mattifying, this is definitely not going to be one for you. But I personally really like it. I love the texture, I love the consistency, really lightweight, it doesn't feel heavy on the skin, and with everything using the Fenty primer, foundation, concealer, and powder, my face doesn't feel cakey, it doesn't feel heavy. So everything all together, I mean, I think my face looks pretty flawless. I think it photographs beautifully, and honestly, I don't feel anything on my face. So hey, okay. So I just want to wrap up this video and tell you guys that I personally really love the mattifying primer and foundation and concealer and powder on my normal skin. Do I know how it works on oily skin? No. Do I know how it works on dry skin? No. But for my normal skin, I say that I really like it, and I totally recommend it to you guys if you are looking for something that will give you a soft matte finish. So I hope you guys all enjoy, and I hope that you guys learned a little something from this review. And if you guys want to see any other reviews, please let me know. I don't always get to every single review because, like, I have a budget. But before I go, I wanted to say another huge thank you to Fenty Beauty for sending me this package. As always, no matter what review, no matter if a product is sent to me by a company, you guys know that that's not going to alter my opinions at all. You guys see it here, proof is in the pudding, and that's all I really gotta say. So I hope you guys all enjoy this review, and I will see you guys later. Bye! Peace out, Girl Scouts.